It's 3 o'clock. I'm Louis Wellsman, and this is Solent Sports News. Oh no. English clubs are back in action across Europe tonight. Our man Luke Dennis has the preview.
A couple of interesting ties in the Champions League tonight involving the English clubs. Manchester City are away to Basel, while Spurs travel to Juventus in what was a mouth-watering tie. Leroy Sané could return for Manchester City tonight, despite being ruled out for 6 weeks towards the end of January. David Silva and Fabian Delph are also in contention to return for the Premier League leaders. Pep Guardiola says for now that his only concern is reaching the quarter-finals.
The physicality and the quality of the opponents individually and collectively is higher. 180 minutes, so your emotions are involved in this kind of tournament a lot, and hopefully we can control it as good as possible and go through.
Tributes have been flying in for Hull City midfielder Ryan Mason today after he confirmed his retirement this afternoon. A tweet from Gary Lineker read, "A real shame for an extremely talented footballer. Wish Ryan Mason the very best." Former Saints boss Nigel Atkins labelled the midfielder as a top professional. Mason had been working towards a comeback after fracturing his skull over a year ago, but has announced today that he will retire on the advice of medical professionals. It was another disappointing weekend for Saints fans as they saw their side lose 2-0 at home to Liverpool. Goals from Roberto Firmino and Mo Salah piled more pressure onto manager Maurizio Pellegrino. On a cold, grisly day, we asked the people of Southampton their thoughts on the Saints boss.
I don't think it's time for him to go as such. I just wish he would change his tactics, is the way he plays. Obviously, his formation and so forth. We're playing one striker. I don't think that's too clever. You've got to look at the overall picture. I think you've got to look at the board and how they function and how they operate as a business. And if they carry on the way they are, they're going to lose it.
I think it's time to get a new manager. We should have kept one that went to Tottenham. Pochettino did it. Yeah, and I think we're going to. In likelihood, we are going to get relegated. But looking at it, is the team not putting their weight? The defence is shocking, and why isn't Forster being used no more? That's what I think it is. It's Dan, we're not using Forster. Put Forster back in goal. Our form will go back up.
They're struggling. I can't see him hold on to the job for too much longer. But then you've got to ask who else is out there.
So pretty poor himself, as their performance is pretty bad. By the summer he'll be gone.
Now we have some breaking news for you now. We understand Arsenal striker Alexander Lacazette has undergone knee surgery and could be out for as long as 6 weeks. We'll bring you more on this as we get it. It was heartbreak yet again for a British athlete at the Winter Olympic Games as Elise Christie crashed out of her 500-metre short track final. Peter Akinmosher watched the race and has more for us now.
Elise Christie says she was knocked over and didn't fall on her own after crashing out in the final of speed skating's 500 metres at the Winter Olympics. It meant a repeat of what happened in Sochi 4 years ago, where she also fell over and missed out on the medals. The Breton got to her feet and trod home in 5th, but was upgraded to 4th after one of her competitors was disqualified. GB are still looking for their first medal at the 2018 Games.
Ben Stokes is set to join the England squad and fly out to New Zealand, despite appearing at Bristol Magistrates Court today after being charged with a fray for a fight back in September. The Englishman was missed this morning for the T20 side as England lost by 12 runs to New Zealand. Josh Butler slammed his team after the performance.
That proved to be the difference in the end. I think we were just off with our skills. Wicket obviously played a lot better than everyone thought, and it produced a really good game. But we probably didn't quite bowl as well as we could have. Guptill and Williamson put us under a lot of pressure. We're probably trying to find ways to break that partnership.
Bucks cricketer Shawn Wilson reacted to the news.
I think for a cricketing purpose, I think he hasn't really been proven that guilty for what he's done. So I think as long as it doesn't clash with the date of his hearing, then it should be fine. But I think the problem is the ECB are sending out mixed messages, like why wasn't he allowed out in Australia, but now he's allowed out in New Zealand. I think that's something the ECB have a lot to answer for. But the bottom line is England need Ben Stokes because he's one of the best players in the world, and he adds a lot of balance to the side as a fourth seamer and as a middle order batsman. So I think England definitely need him out. Should he be allowed? As long as it doesn't clash with his hearing, then it should be fine. But
Rachel Clark says the Solent netball side are full of confidence ahead of tomorrow's cup tie against Gloucestershire. We sat down with her earlier.
I'm feeling pretty confident, so hopefully it'll be a win. It's a cup game, so if we win this, we get through to the semis. And last week we lost, which is a shame. It was our first loss in probably 5 weeks, so that's a bit disheartening, but feeling good about this week.
That's all from us now. You've been listening to Solent Sports News. Stay tuned as we come back at 4 o'clock. Like and follow us on Twitter at Solent Sports News. Thank you and goodbye.